Awesome. Good afternoon. The April 21st meeting of Seattle City Council will come to order. It is 2:02 p.m. I am Joy Hollingsworth, your council president. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Foster.
Here.
Councilmember Juarez. Thank you. Councilmember Kettle.
Here.
Councilmember Lynn.
Here.
Councilmember Rink.
Present.
Councilmember Rivera. Councilmember Socket.
Here.
Council President Hollingsworth.
Here.
7 present.
Awesome. Colleagues, Councilmember Strauss is excused for today. And please call Councilmember Rivera's name again for the roll.
Councilmember Rivera.
Present.
Thank you. 8 present.
Awesome. We have 8 present, and Councilmember Strauss is excused today. Colleagues, at this time, we're going to open up the hybrid public comment period. Public comment is limited to items on today's agenda, the introduction referral calendar, or the council's work plan. I know we have 8 in person. We might have more signing up in chambers. How many do we have online, clerk?
4 online.
4, so that is 12. So we have 12 folks. Everyone will get 2 minutes to speak. Clerk, will you please read the instructions for the public comment?
The public comment period will be moderated in the following manner. Speakers will be called in the order in which they registered. Speakers will hear a chime when 10 seconds are left of their time. Speakers' mics will be muted if they did not end their comments within the allotted time to allow us to call on the next speaker. The public comment period is now open, and we'll begin with the first speaker on the list.
Awesome. So we have Joe, followed by Paul. Then we have Derek. Then we have Scott, Patrick, and Kim Wilson. So first up, we have Joe. Is Joe here? Welcome, Joe. And we have Paul, followed by Derek.
Hi, okay, the microphone seems to be on. Can everyone hear me?
We can hear you, Joe.
Wow. It's a great privilege and honor to address the Seattle City Council on a matter of such great importance. I am asking that every single Seattle City Council member and this mayor condemn anti-Semitism. What we saw last Sunday night in reports of it, of an anti-Semitic attack on a group of citizens who wanted to hear Miss Israel 2021 to speak about being a medic during the war in Gaza, having to treat not just Israeli civilians and citizens, but also Gazans, was an important speech we all should have heard. In fact, I came down here today to attend what was supposed to be the University of Washington part of this, and Noah Kokva had to cancel because of death threats. So I am asking, that's really pleasant, you clapping for someone being silenced, who wasn't hateful, who doesn't hate you and doesn't hate this council, unlike Alex Zimmerman, who just hurled a bunch of hate down at the King County Council. In fact, that's what I was listening to. I am asking that every single council member condemn anti-Semitism, as well as Islamophobia, as well as all other forms of hate. This is a beautiful city because it's so inclusive, and we have a great city council president. We have a great Seattle Storm. We have a great Seattle Seahawks that's going to win a second Lombardi, and we're going to have a great city again this year and a great Seattle Police Department who deserves a lot better than the way they were treated Sunday night. And with that, I'll yield the balance of my time. Thank you for your public service.
Thank you, Joe. Next, we have Paul, followed by Derek. Hi, Mr. Paul. Any mic you want, sir. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Hollingsworth and council members, nice to be with you today. In the essence of time, I'll read this, if that's okay. I'm also old, so I want to make sure I get this right. My affiliation is one of the founders of Together for Seattle, something that's been going for about 3 years. And we are here to bring people and organizations together in a variety of joint efforts. We believe it's important for the citizens to become involved in city issues. Our purpose is to promote connectivity and relationships among organizations that might offer service to Seattle area communities and your districts. And where we've been pulling pastors, business people, and individuals together to look at community issues. As an example, includes training sessions in different districts with led by UGM to talk about the homeless addiction situation and training people that aren't very aware of what's going on. And follow-up activities have included meetings, dinners, including those on the street, tours of treatment facilities, and bringing kind of knowledge about what's happening in the city. We are also seeing community walks, involvement with World Cup prep, and doing some city cleanups. We also see in community, today, I'm told that there's a gathering in West Seattle, and one of the things that we're doing, and that Mayor Wilson's community advisor was there. And we understand that tomorrow you'll be voting on a new director of neighborhoods, and we're very interested in getting involved with her after she's approved. We believe that building relationships is a key to productive dialogue, including respectful discussion with different points of view. As you know well on the council, you deal with this every day. It's our hope that we might explore ways that we can engage with the council in productive exchanges in the future, just getting to know one another. Seattle, based on what he said, is truly a great city and can be a model for the country. We can have unity without uniformity.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Next, we have Derek, followed by Scott, and then Patrick. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Are you Derek? Yes. Okay, understood. Derek, and then is there Scott? Welcome, Scott.
I'm Scott Buzzard with the American Party of Labor. City Council, your supposed service to the people has been proven weak and baseless yet again. Your lack of commitment to the city and the working class has never been more apparent. This weekend, SPD was utilized as a personal escort service for baby-killing Zionist filth. Liar! SPD escorted individuals who had threatened to rape my mother and sister and kill my family simply because we were peacefully protesting for the people of Gaza and the thousands killed in an act of genocide. SPD escorted these individuals after having illegally knelt upon a protester's neck.
Scott,
while
hold on.
three officers pepper sprayed him.
Scott, pause your
SPD
time.
escorted these vile people after they had forgotten their
Scott,
fill
I'm not trying to
of
cut
women
you off.
beating and body camera turnoffs, as
Scott,
Officer Jay McMullen,
can we cut his
badge
mic
number
real quick?
8531
Scott,
did.
I want to hear your public comment. I'm just going to ask the crowd to be quiet while you're talking. Scott, can you hear me? I want you to do your whole public comment. I'm just going to ask the crowd not to respond back so we can hear you. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
You seem to ignore despite the very real consequences for the working people of Seattle. This violence used on Sunday against peaceful protesters, which included children and families, is a symptom of the spinelessness you have shown in taking accountable measures against increased surveillance and security. SPD has actively trained with Israeli military forces, which you voted to continue in 2021. This must be where they learn to degrade a human life through suffocation and chemical irritant. This must be where they learn to defend child-killing soldiers from peaceful protesters through maiming and state-approved violence. You will not ban Israeli-backed cameras used by the IDF for Palestinian surveillance, and you will not hold your own police department accountable. What will you do, City Council? Continue to sit in these laminate podiums with your plastic bureaucrat smiles? Take another photo op next week when you forget about the people being viciously attacked in the streets? The people are tired of imperialist violence making its way home. We are tired of our taxes defending child killers. The people are tired of you sleeping on the job. It's time to wake up, City Council.
Thank you, Scott. Next, we have Patrick, followed by Kim. This is a reminder when we're just being respectful of all public comments. So when someone's up there, no matter if we disagree with them or not, we're trying to be respectful. And I will never cut off your time. I was trying to help him so we could control folks. Okay, the outburst. Okay, is there Patrick? Is Patrick here? Patrick, you are up next. And then we have Kim Wilson. And then we'll jump to online. And I know some other people signed up, but we'll just go through this. And online, if you hear me, you are up deck after Patrick and Kim Wilson. Patrick, welcome.
Okay, yeah, hi, my name's Patrick McKee. I live in West Seattle. Members of the council, as I hope you all have been hearing about all week, per the Seattle Times, several companies have approached Seattle City Light about building 5 large-scale data centers with a combined maximum electrical demand of 369 megawatts, roughly 1/3 of what the city uses on an average day. At full capacity, these would consume 10 times more power than the city's 30 existing data facilities. On the face of it, this would epitomize irrational capitalism, right? Adding electrical demand on that scale to a system already struggling to deliver clean electricity citywide to prevent further burning of climate-killing fossil fuels. Not to mention what we're learning about the deleterious impacts of artificial general intelligence on human brain function, or the industry's own prediction of the displacement already underway of millions of workers. City Light has said it will study the request, but they've refused to share which companies are involved due to non-disclosure agreements. Someone who probably does know is City Light Review Board's commercial customer representative, Ryan Monson. Mr. Monson also happens to be Saby Corporation's Seattle General Manager of Data Centers. Saby, which does business nationally under the reassuringly with it slogan, cool people doing cool stuff, currently has some 1.2 million square feet of facility across several buildings in Seattle. On a related note, SABI, not alone among Seattle's large corporations, has shown itself very comfortable doing extensive business with ICE. They are the landlords of the DHS ICE facility in Tukwila and have recently signed a lease for expanded ICE offices nearby. Notwithstanding the damage we've all seen this rogue agency do to our democracy over the past 15 months, this is decidedly not cool stuff. So to pull all this together, Seattle certainly needs an immediate moratorium on data centers. But beyond this, Seattle, a city on record as refusing to cooperate with ICE, needs to look at a moratorium on Trump regime collaborators in positions of leadership in the city at large or in the city's public utilities.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Patrick. Next, we have Kim. And following Kim, we're going to go online. We have Wendy Yim, followed by Peter Manning, David Haynes, and then David S., and then we'll come back in person. Wendy, welcome. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, Kim, welcome.
Thank you. Yeah?
Try it again. Speak really close.
Okay.
And you can bend it down.
Thank you. Okay. City Council, just wanted to say thank you. I'm part of the group that prays for you weekly by name at Westlake Center. And I am in the cacao and chocolate industry. And you might think, well, what does that have to do with Seattle, except for the fact that we can't grow cacao, but we do actually host the largest craft chocolate festival in the nation. And so that's coming up in October. I just wanted to say thank you for creating a space where people are willing and comfortable coming to visit our city from 30 different nations and gathering tens of thousands of people. So we just thank you for your service. Thank you. One of my prayers for you as I look at each of you is a prayer of thanks for the diversity on the council and just a prayer that you would continue to model respect for one another and respect for the people in our city. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Next, we're going to go online. Wendy Yim, followed by Peter Manning, David Haynes, and then David S. Wendy, *6 to unmute yourself. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yim. Thank you so much for listening. Council members, thank you for your time. I want to let you know that children, residents, and merchants in Madison Valley are in danger. The low barrier shelter that operates as Bailey Boucher House, run by Virginia Mason, does not adhere to its good neighbor agreements or many contractual obligations. It overflows at 8 times its agreed upon capacity. Over the past few years, we've seen violent incidents that involve children and students waiting at the bus stop that's in front of Virginia Mason's Bailey Boucher House. This is where untreated residents come and go at all hours, openly do drugs, and die of overdose. Our adult community members have been murdered and raped by people affiliated with Bailey Boucher services. Virginia Mason has at least 3 lucrative contracts with the city of Seattle and King County, amounting to millions of dollars in annual funding. City Council members, I'm pleading that you hold Virginia Mason accountable to their good neighbor agreements and various contract requirements at the risk of losing their funding. Please defund Virginia Mason if they do not comply immediately. Thank you for taking my comments.
Thank you, Wendy. Next, we have Peter Manning, followed by David Haynes, and then David S. *6 to unmute yourself. Peter.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Peter Manning. I'm president of Black Excellence Cannabis. 2 issues. I would like the City Council to take into consideration that post-equity licenses have went live. The city of Seattle was responsible for the removal of all Black-owned dispensaries back in 2015. We would like some help getting those people reestablished in the city of Seattle. We'd appreciate that very much. My second thing I'd like to say, a large portion of the Black community in the south end of Seattle voted for Katie Wilson. It's come to our knowledge that Katie Wilson doesn't seem to be too friendly towards that of Black people. We are catching wind that she doesn't even communicate with Black staff members in city council. She doesn't communicate with Black staff members in her security team or detail around the building. She just didn't acknowledge this at all. And it just seems like this might be an issue with us. I mean, with me as being a Black person, and I've reached out to that administration several times about getting some type of help for Black communities. I'm really concerned because the cameras are not up in the south end of Seattle and in the central district in certain parts of West Seattle where Black kids go to school at. That is being overlooked, but they're allowing cameras to be put up for FIFA around where predominantly white people will come to watch sporting events. That's concerning to me. This is all one Seattle. This is everybody here, regardless of color, deserves protection. Please talk to your mayor about safety for our children. That's all, and thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Next, we have David Haynes, followed by David S., and then we'll go back to in-person.
Thank you, David Haynes. You know, if there were surveillance cameras, you might be able to figure out who shot that woman. And you can tell the city council thinks they've already done enough because there's nothing on the agenda of substance. It's as if you guys think your messaging has been able to pull the wool over the eyes of enough people into believing that the chief is being honest about how much safer it is when he's just manipulating the crime hotspots. You know, it's been proven that the environmental design can cause bad behavior. We see it coming out of hookah lounges that are total toxic, charcoal inhaled poisons. Yet, when everything seems to be kind of forsaken and slum-like, run down, if you take a clear-eyed look at Pioneer Square, you will realize that all of that needs to be torn down and rebuilt, 21st century, first world quality. And if you take a hardcore look at all of those evil, low-life pieces of crap that run those businesses that overserve with those evil, predatory bartenders that have those wicked, sadistic nightclubs who just overserve everybody and then spill all these fucked up people into the streets, left vulnerable to the predators who are hanging around the corner. Yet, when you call the cops, they tell you got to keep calling because they don't set their resources proper otherwise. But it turns out the cops are too afraid to be in Pioneer Square. And if you call, they make you go out to meet them so that they put a target on your back, endangering you, while they'll still protect themselves from even making a concerted effort to deal with all the evil criminals. They take over Pioneer Square every frickin' flying night. I swear to Christ, Pioneer Square is the worst place to live in America for me. It's the worst place I've ever lived. And it is truly a slum from hell that has all this watered down building code violations that are all about to fall over. You need to tear it all down instead of historically preserving slums from the historic.
Thank you, David. Next, we have David S. David S. You will press *6 to unmute yourself, and we'll go back to in-person.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is David. I am calling in about an event I attended yesterday. It was at Town Hall, where a Jewish organization put on an event. I was really concerned about this event leading up because a wannabe influencer, I'll say, posted the location of it, in which there were people responding, threatening Molotov cocktails, violence, as well as people posting anti-Semitic caricatures of Jews ruling the world. When I went in, there were throat-slitting motions. They called my friend a dirty Jew. They, on the way out, chased Jewish residents, intimidated and filmed children. This was at a place that was called Town Hall. And it's a place where all ideas are welcome. There's many different ideas that are presented there. This week was a pro-Israel thing. Next week, there is an anti-Israel thing. That's the idea behind free speech. But people should not be allowed to harass residents, block cars, and try to shut things down. And they think they can get away with it, and it's because they can. This is the result of a policy of trying to appease a mob that will never let the council do their job. Yes, I'm also talking about Councilmember Strauss and Juarez, who let the ceasefire resolution a couple years ago go through, even through the protests of the greater Jewish community. We deserve peace as Seattleites, freedom of speech, so do we, so do people who disagree with us. But anti-Semitism should never be acceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We're going to go back to in-person comments. We have Howard Gale, followed by Miss Yvette Dinish, and then Nathan Wall. Is Howard Gale here? There he is. Hello, Mr. Gale.
Good afternoon. Over the next 4 weeks will occur the anniversaries of 3 completely unnecessary killings by Seattle police of African Americans who were in severe crisis, holding a knife or no weapon in their hands, then shot to death by Seattle police. Sean Lee Furr, killed 6 years ago with no weapon while holding his infant son. Terry Caver, killed 6 years ago, just days before George Floyd, while brandishing a knife after being needlessly chased by multiple officers and a canine, grossly violating all SPD de-escalation policies. And Ryan Smith, killed 7 years ago, just seconds after 4 police officers broke down his apartment door. I note these cases because our current accountability system works to make us forget them by labeling these killings, quote, lawful and proper, unquote, and because these and other such killings will be subjected to a King County inquest over the next few months. In the case of Sean Lee Furr on June 15th, I am confident that inquest juries will find in these cases, as they found in the case of Iosea Folatogo, also killed by SPD in the inquest last year, that SPD officers actually acted criminally. If this council has even the slightest curiosity how our accountability system is working or not working, and continues to ignore the city auditor's recommendation from 9 years ago for a truly independent audit of our system, I would suggest attending these upcoming inquests. Finally, I do want to point out, in all these killings, what's common is they are people of color, in mental health crisis, and they have no weapon or a knife. In 1978, Seattle City Council passed a law preventing police from shooting at any fleeing suspect. That was common practice. In the 60s and 70s, numerous people were actually killed running away from trivial offenses. Seattle passed that law 7 years before the Supreme Court fully outlawed that practice in Tennessee v. Garner. We have done it before. We need to do what's done in Japan, Wales, England, Scotland. We need to stop killing people that simply have knives that are in mental health distress.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Next, we have Miss Yvette Dinish, followed by Nathan Wall. Welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There was a recent article in the Seattle Times about why housing first isn't the answer to Seattle's homelessness crisis. It's well written, and the last paragraph gives some good ideas on how to alleviate that situation. And also, there was an editorial, I take the Seattle Times. There's an editorial in the Times about Mayor Wilson's unveils a homelessness plan, but big questions remain. My concern is that her pledge to build 500 new shelter units by June with $17.5 million in existing funds works out to $35,000 per unit. To me, that seems exorbitant, and there's also other solutions that make it a lot more affordable, like tough sheds which are already pre-built, manufactured housing, and sometimes even a new RV. So next time I come and speak, I'll have some more concrete solutions. But again, $35,000 per unit is an awful lot of money to be spent for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Yvette. Next, we have Nathan Wall, followed by, Bennett, did you sign up too as well? Okay, awesome. Followed by you, Bennett.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm here today to talk about the Sound Transit expansion to the West Seattle neighborhood and to the Ballard neighborhood. So I work in West Seattle. It's very hard to get from District 2 to District 1 on the bus. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's ever experienced that. I see Eddie smiling at me right now. So I was concerned that a couple weeks ago somebody came to a council meeting and stated that Sound Transit expansion to West Seattle was going to destroy their business and that they felt that the council was just pushing it through without asking them. The thing is, and I hate to talk down on this person's concerns, but we did vote on this several times. So this is not a matter of are we going to do this or not? That cannot be the question that we ask. The question has to be, how do we do this? It's an obligation. And as Councilmember Saka said, we have to do this. Like, there's just not, abandoning this is not an option. Sound transit expansion will be disruptive. That is just a fact of life. But sometimes it's important. This is an important climate goal. This will help us meet our climate needs, and we can't allow special interests to slow this process down. So I'm here today to say that we need Sound Transit 3 to be fully implemented from West Seattle to Ballard. I'd like to see Sound Transit from Tacoma to Everett. We need this to happen. And so I'm urging the City Council to work with the county, the state, and every municipality in the region to see that this project is realized, because this is something we have to do. The voters said yes 3 times. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Nathan. Next, we have Bennett, followed by Jocelyn. Welcome, Bennett.
Good afternoon, Council. I actually just signed up at the last second now because I wanted to respond to some of the things that one of the callers said about the protests outside Town Hall 2 days ago. An event that, if you didn't hear about it from the call, you may have heard about already, where former IDF soldiers giving a talk and people protesting Israel's attacks on Gaza gathered outside. I say this as somebody who is sort of an unbiased party because I have been calling out both sides a lot. Obviously, appalled by Israel's actions in Gaza, but Tuesday night thing or Sunday night thing where the crowd started chanting like "Death, death to the IDF," and I was like, "No, shut the fuck up." Sorry, Joy, don't do that. Or nuke Tel Aviv, nuke Tel Aviv, and no, it was like no genocide, guys, no civilians, nothing. So. Coming at it as sort of a reasonably unbiased third party that calls out both sides. But I will say the overwhelming majority of the event was focused on the actions of the state of Israel in Gaza, not anti-Semitism. And the fact is that to the extent that when they did veer into the more offensive stuff, it's just, it's a bad actor in the crowd who starts something. If 3 people join in, then you can't really tell, is this the whole crowd or is this one guy and his friends getting his friends riled up? I mean, that is still protected by the First Amendment in virtually all cases. Unless it's incitement to violence against a specific person in that moment, there's nothing really that the police can or should do, or that the city council can or should do there. And there were people, attendees, that they either arrived at the event or left the event, and people would gather around them and sometimes shout and chant. But I was wearing a GoPro the whole time, sometimes filming my phone. Nobody laid a hand on them. There was actually far more violence committed by SPD against protesters outside when, as the event was wrapping up, they formed a line and started shoving everybody back. And not every officer, but as is often the case, a couple of bad actors that were clearly just using it as a pretext to shove people and get in people's faces. And as is often the case, there were other officers didn't call them out. The people did not deserve to be treated that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Bennett. Next, we have Jocelyn. Welcome. Any mic, the middle or the side. Anyone you want.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Jocelyn Ford, and I serve as the Chief Advancement Officer at the Urban League of Metropolitan Seattle. I want to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the Seattle City Council, in particular to Councilmember Saka, for championing a recognition on behalf of our pastor, Robert L. Manaway Sr. Dr. Robert L. Manaway Sr., excuse me. Whatever I have built, whatever I have contributed to this community has been shaped by what I've learned in his congregation. He taught me what it means to lead with purpose, to serve with family in mind, and to stay when staying is hard. Thousands of us carry that formation every day. In a community like the Central District, where generations of Black families have watched this neighborhood shift around them, Dr. Manaway remained a constant. But staying was never enough for him. He acted. He provided groundbreaking support to young mothers, families, and men who needed someone to believe in them. He erected transitional housing programs. He met this community where it was and lifted it toward where it deserves to be. His ministry has never been about a platform. It has been about a people. The Black community of the Central District, whose stories and struggles are woven into every one of his 40 years of service, including my own. Dr. Robert L. Manaway Sr. did not just build a church. He built a legacy into the soil of this community, So it is only right that this ground now bears his name. Welcome to Dr. R.L. Manaway Senior Way. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jocelyn, for that. Do we have any more public comment mentors? Awesome. All right. I'm going to scan the audience real quick. Is there any more public commenters that would like to sign up before we close it? Going once, twice, sold to the grave. All right. Thank you all for coming to public comment period, for your all engagement. When the chocolatier, when you came, the first thing I thought was, what's an astronaut's favorite candy bar? Milky Way. So okay. Come on, I thought that was, there is Mars. Sorry, all right. Moving on, thank you all for this is a dad joke, all of the public comments that we get on, not just online too, but just emails and everywhere. Thank you all also for coming down, engaging with us. So now we're going to move into our agenda. So hearing none, I'm gonna move to adopt the consent calendar.
Madam Council President?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Point of personal privilege.
Councilmember Saka.
If I may, thank you. I just want to briefly address something. I think our job here at this dais is to just sit and listen to the public comment that we hear of all types and of all sorts. But I do want to briefly address something that I heard disparaging a specific historic neighborhood in my council district, Pioneer Square. And as the council member who proudly represents Pioneer Square, I want to apologize to my constituents or allies or visitors of the neighborhood who know that it is not a slum, who know that it is not unsafe and not undangerous inherently. And I also want you to know that your city has your back, and despite what some may say or how they may characterize your neighborhood, it is not unsafe, it is not a slum, it is not undangerous, or is not dangerous. Are there opportunities to make improvements? Yes, no different than any other neighborhood. But it is my distinct honor to represent that neighborhood, and I know my council member colleagues are equally committed to making sure we do right by Pioneer Square. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Saka. Well said. Well said. We all love Pioneer Square. Colleagues, if there's no objection, the introduction referral calendar will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the introduction referral calendar is adopted. Hearing no objection, the agenda will be adopted. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the agenda will be adopted. We're now going to consider the proposed consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar include the minutes of April 14th, 2026, City Council, Council Bill 121198, payment of the bills. Are there any council members that would like to remove any item from today's consent calendar? Hearing none, I move to adopt the consent calendar. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. That was fast today, so thank you for that. It's been moved. Usually I gotta look left and right for a second. Okay, it's been moved and second to adopt the consent calendar. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the consent calendar?
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Councilmember Juarez,
Aye.
Councilmember Kettle,
Aye.
Councilmember Lynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Rink,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Councilmember Saka,
Aye.
Council President Hollingsworth.
Yes.
8 in favor, none opposed.
Awesome. It has been, I'm sorry. The consent calendar has been, are we on the, yes, has been adopted. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the minutes and legislation on the consent calendar on my behalf? Now we're going to move into our full agenda. Will the clerk please read item number 1 into the record?
The report of the Transportation, Waterfront, and Seattle Center Committee, a resolution providing an honorary designation of South Jackson Street between 28th Avenue South and 29th Avenue South as Dr. R.L. Manaway Senior Way. The committee recommends council adopt the resolution.
Awesome. Councilmember Saka, as chair of the committee, you are recognized to provide the committee report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Council President. It is my distinct honor to make a few remarks about this proposal before our broader full council here, but I also want to defer to the legislation sponsor to make some remarks about this important piece of legislation that we're going to consider as well. So I defer to you and yield my time to you now, Madam Council President.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Saka, and thank you for your leadership and the collaborative nature. When I was in committee meeting, and I said this, and I want to say it publicly as well, when we first brought this to Councilmember Saka, the first thing he said, anything that's needed, he was for it, and just really appreciate that collaborative nature, and thank you for having this in your committee. Also want to thank, I believe Pastor Manaway's family is here as well, some folks in the back. Just want to thank you all for, I know this was a good long process, and so everyone said yes. So I'm glad we could get this over the finish line as well. I've been impressed, obviously, with Pastor Manaway and his leadership in our community, and has been the pastor at Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church since 1983. So that's over 43 years, over 1,700 members. And outside of Reverend McKinney, he's the longest serving pastor that we have in our city, in our central district, and in our churches. And couldn't be more grateful for the foundation that he has set in our community, the leadership that he has brought for our youth, the food access programs that Tabernacle provides, the community resources, the staple, the hub. As we are continuing to build our city, and our neighborhoods are changing and shifting, words matter. These cultural places matter to folks. We got people that are driving in from Kent, Federal Way, Tacoma, just to come into churches every Sunday in our central districts. And so to see Pastor Manaway's name on the street as well with the community that he built, I think is really, really special. So really happy that you all are here. Thank you, Councilmember Saka. I will pass it off to you and really appreciate your partnership on this.
Thank you, Madam Council President. Well said. To round out from my perspective, I'll just say again, it is my distinct honor to be able to speak to this resolution that's sponsored by Council President Hollingsworth, and that would name a specific portion of South Jackson Street after Dr. R.L. Manaway Sr. Colleagues, the STEPS Committee voted last week overwhelmingly and unanimously for all present to recommend that the City Council adopt this resolution. And Dr. Manaway, colleagues, to pile on Council President's comments, was born on July 17th, 1958 in Mississippi. Dr. Manaway has been a senior pastor of Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church at 28th Avenue South and South Jackson Street in the CD since to your point, 1983. And he also serves as president of the North Pacific Baptist Convention, overseeing churches across Washington and Oregon. Dr. Manaway has served on civic committees, including the Community Advisory Committee for the 2014 Seattle Police Chief Search Committee. And Dr. Manaway has been married to his wife, Jessica, since 1981. The couple have 5 amazing children, 13 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. What a tremendous blessing. And I think some of them might be here with us today. But in any event, honored to be able to put this forward. And I strongly encourage a yes vote. And thank you for your collaboration and sponsorship of this.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Saka. Are there any other comments? Councilmember Juarez.
Thank you. First of all, and thank you, Madam President, for bringing this forward, and of course you, Councilmember Saka. We do a lot of street naming, and I did not have the opportunity to meet this gentleman, but I heard a lot about him. But I wanted to share something that is very near to us in Indian country. You know, voluntary institutions that develop character, morality, and values, such as Black churches, have been the core. And I just wanted to share that in the 1950s and 60s, it was Black churches and leaders like Pastor Manaway that stood with and walked with Native folks in fighting for their rights, their civil rights. And as some of you remember, Judge Tanner, when he was just a lawyer and a member of a church, was for free represented the people of the Franks Landing Indian community, the Nisqually tribe and the Puyallup tribe. And we've always locked arms with them, and they have been our brothers and sisters in those struggles in the 50s and 60s. As the gentleman said out here, I guess we're all old and we remember those days. So, and I do remember those days. And so to see someone honored in the way that they should be honored as a man of faith. And again, as you saw and as Councilmember Saka shared, we don't always get kind words here. So when we have moments of light and goodness and kindness, it means a lot. So with that, I'm really proud to support this, this street naming for Pastor Manaway since 1983.
83.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Juarez. Are there any other comments on the floor? Awesome. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Councilmember Foster,
Yes.
Councilmember Juarez,
Aye.
Councilmember Kettle,
Aye.
Councilmember Lynn,
Yes.
Councilmember Rink,
Yes.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Councilmember Saka,
Aye.
Council President Hawksworth.
Yes.
8 in favor, none opposed.
Awesome. The resolution is yay. Sorry. The resolution is adopted. Great honor. The resolution is adopted. The chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? That was the only item on our agenda today, colleagues. There's no other items removed from the consent calendar. There's not a resolution for introduction or adoption today. Is there any further business from colleagues to come before the council? I'll look to the right, look to the left. Y'all are quiet today. Okay, awesome. Well, we have reached the end of today's agenda. The next city council meeting is April 28th. That is 2 p.m. Every Tuesday we are here. Hearing no further business, thank you all for coming today. We're adjourned.